Alright, day 15. Let's kick things off with one of my albums. We had Dogsbody by Model Actress. Now, this was an album I discovered fairly recently, earlier in the year. I'd heard good things about it, I just hadn't checked it out. And the main reason I chose to include it was because I wanted to showcase what I think is a really good demonstration of noise. And the album I initially picked for that was You Won't Get What You Want by Daughters. Now, the frontman of Daughters is a terrible person, and so I don't particularly want to support his music. I still think he created an amazing piece of art, but he's a really shitty person. So I included Dogsbody because when it comes to noise rock, I think this is the second best application of it I've heard. And to wrap it up in a post-punk kind of topping, I think was genius. You have some excellent post-punk throughout the album, and where this significantly differs from a lot of noise rock is noise rock as a genre focuses on the noise. That's where a lot of the power is, and that's where they're putting a lot of their energy. Whereas Model Actress set out to be a post-punk band and make a post-punk album and use noise as an asset, as an instrument. And it works incredibly well here because when you get accustomed to noise, it fades away. But using it sparingly, using it as an accent, makes it so much more powerful. It really packs a greater punch when it's used, and the periods of silence are that much more striking. The absence of it also becomes an instrument. And I think you can feel that best on the closing track. That really somber and relaxed and easygoing finisher. That's sweet, even bittersweet. The lack of noise caps it very well. So Dogsbody, my Model Actress, is the second best use of noise I've ever heard, and for that reason I'm giving it a 9.5 out of 10. I think it's fantastic. Then we have Better Late Than Never by Half Past Late. This one's submitted by Jude. And unfortunately, I think this was one of the most generic albums I've ever heard. It truly was the essence of pop punk in being ska without the brass. And that may be a really hurtful thing to say, but truly, I found no exceptional parts of this album. I think the singer had a very okay voice. I think that the instruments were performed adequately. The songs were composed in a way that's just fine. Nothing interesting or definitive going on, and it's a pale imitation of the sound it was trying to reach. I was disappointed, to say the least. So I don't have much else to say about it beyond it's a nothing burger. So I'm going to give it a 4.5. Then we had Red Sky by Moon Hooch. This was a really fun album. This was a really stanky album, and I loved it. Loved the stank, the odor on it. Woof. Rock with very aggressive saxophone. That's tasty. I like it. That's good eats. Yeah, just a really interesting album. I liked the kind of interspersing of instrumental tracks with vocal-backed tracks, and the vocals were nice. They, I think, accompanied the instrumentation very well. But yeah, this was a super nice standout album. It reminded me most closely of Viagra Boys and their instrumental cuts off their albums. Just hard, fast, stanky, but like not aggressive with it. Not punchy in the face, just very present, lots of energy in it, and I appreciated it. I liked it. I thought it was slick. So Red Sky by Moon Hooch, I'm going to give it an 8.5. I liked it. Then today, we had Bleach by Nirvana. I'd not heard this album by Nirvana, and it was pretty good. I think I do understand why Nevermind and In Utero are more well acclaimed than Bleach, because it is a pretty different sound from later Nirvana, but it was still interesting, and I think it was still well made. Definitely a heavier feel, but Kurt Cobain is still a fantastic performer, and I don't know if this is like retroactively reading into it, but it sounded like they were having a little more fun on Bleach. I don't know. But it definitely feels like an earlier work. It's rougher around the edges. The sound is heavier, which I think is more contemporary with when it came out. But the songwriting and the song structures, I think, are still very Nirvana. The sound, pretty Nirvana. You know, they develop and they really take on their own identity later on. But standing alone, I think it was a perfectly fine album. I liked it. I thought it was solid. There were some tracks I didn't care for. Other tracks I think hit pretty hard. And, you know, that's about all I can ask for from it. So, Bleach by Nirvana, I'm going to give a 7. And I'll see you tomorrow.